Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to build our first bridge with West Point Bridge Builder. And in this first bridge, we have a couple things that we need to follow. The first is, what is our deck elevation, what is our height elevation in our arch, and what template are we using, and what's our maximum cost we want to have on this bridge. So we can go through and we can look at the different tips and scroll through and read a few of those and see how that's going to help us with our bridge design. And once we're done with that, we'll click close. In here we want to create a new bridge. So we're going to create new bridge and we'll select OK. And here's our first screen for creating our new bridge. You'll want to read through this information here. This will talk about our span of our bridge, our height of our bridge, etc. And this is real important information, so make sure you read through this. Once you're done with that, you'll go to next. We're going to leave this at the default of no. We're not entering any contest at this time, so we'll leave that at no and click next again. Here we need to start following our criteria. On our first bridge, our elevation is 24 meters and our default is set at 24, so we're good to go there. Arch height, we do have an arch height of 20 meters, so we'll need to select arch abutments and select 20 meters. Okay. No piers and no cable anchors, since we do have an arch on here. And then we'll go to next. We're going to leave the default settings on our deck material and our loading just to help us out with this design. So make sure you don't change any of that information. And read your design tips over to the right and select next. Okay, now we're down to the template that we're going to use, and we've got a Pratt, Howe, and a Pratt. And our second Pratt is a 3-hinge arch. We're not using that one. We're going to use our Howe. And when I select this, you'll notice that my design changes down here in this window. If I were to select the Pratt or the hinge Pratt, you would see the differences in those there. Okay, so Howe is the template we're going to use for this first design. So we'll select Howe and go to next. Here we want to add our information so we can identify who did this, and I'll just put my name in for now, Mr. Sparks, and project ID number I'll type in bridge 1. Okay, and select next. Read your design information here to the left and your design tips to the right, and then select finish. And here we go. Here's our initial design, and then over here to the right it'll list all the members and the joints as we add them to our project. I really don't want to see this information right now. What I want to see is just my design, so I'm going to close this for now. And here we go. To the left I have my tool window, and I have joints, and I have members, and my select tool, and my erase tool. Above that I've got different options for what materials I want to use. I can use a carbon steel, high strength alloy, and a quench your tempered steel. Just to the right of that, I can either use a solid bar or a hollow bar. Hollow bar is going to be cheaper. Same with this information here. Carbon is the cheapest, and then quench steel is the most expensive. And then to the right of our solid or hollow bar, we've got all the different sizes that we can use on our members as we add them to our project. All right, and we can increase the size of those members, or we can decrease the size of the members here. And then here's our total cost so far. So just now into this project, just for the excavation and the prepping of the site, we've already spent over $100,000, and our total budget on this is $225,000. So that's where we're at now. So we've got a little less than $125,000 left to spend. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to add my joints, I'm going to leave the defaults, and we'll take a look and see what happens here. And I'm going to add it to all these locations on the design that are not already bolded. So these areas that look like they're light in color, we'll add it there. Then I'm going to select my members, and I'm going to add my members. And I can just drag all the way through on the straight lines, and it'll put those in place for me. It will do this on any of these arched, but it'll draw a straight line. So you want to make sure you stay with within the design structure that it's laid out for you. So we'll go through and add these in. And there we go. It doesn't take long at all. And once we get this initial design done. Now we're ready to test it. We're going to see if just the default settings are going to give us a well enough design bridge that we can actually drive a vehicle across it. Up here in the top left, you'll notice there are two windows. One looks like a little symbol of a truck on a bridge, and then maybe some design tools that we use. And we're in the design mode right now, and we want to go to the test mode. So we'll select test, and here's our bridge. And nope, it didn't make it. So what we learned from this is a couple things. One, where you see these really dark red colors here, this is compression. Our material is being compressed so much that it's to the point of failure. Obviously we failed here, and we're failing here. The other color you might see in this is going to be a blue, and that's the tension where it's being pulled apart. So in this design right now, our compression is failing us on this bridge, so our truck isn't able to make it across. So what we'll do now is we'll go back to our design again, and we'll learn that these three pieces down here failed on us. So what I can do is I can select those, and then if I hold shift down or control, I can select multiple pieces at once. I'm going to select all four of these, and I'm going to increase the size of those. And let's just go up and see what happens. So there we go. Let's give it a test and see how our bridge does. Sure enough, it passed. Awesome. So our bridge was successful, but we have one big problem. Our total cost right now is at $451,000. We are $226,000 over budget. So somehow we're going to have to reduce our cost. How are we going to do that? Well, first of all, what I want to do is look at the design. As a vehicle is driving across this, I can see the stress being put on each of the members. And where it's really light in color, that means it doesn't have a lot of stress on it. Where it gets darker in color, it has a lot more stress. So we can see as the bridge or the car drives across this, we can see these members down here start to change color and get darker red. So we know we got a lot of stress on these four members down here, but up here in the top, we're not seeing a lot of stress. So we can go through and we can reduce the size of these, we can change the type of material, we could go from a solid to a hollow bar. So we'll try a few tricks and see what happens. So I'm going to select a good portion of all these up here and see if I can get this. Nope. We'll select a bunch of these, and we're going to see what happens if I change these to hollow. Our price just drops dramatically, and let's see how we do on our test. So you can see as the bridge settles, we can see some, yep, sure enough, didn't quite make it. So we've got too much compression going on here. The strength of the material isn't strong enough, so we'll go back and redesign those. So you can see as we do this, we can keep playing with these materials until we get a bridge that is successful as far as the vehicle being able to cross. And this one looks a little shaky, but our truck makes it across successfully. We also want to be conscious of our total cost and our materials. So I'm going to have to reduce this still by $150,000 to get it to where we need it to be under budget. So we'll go through and we'll continue to play with this and get this all worked out, and I'll come back and we'll see how we finish up. Okay, so here we are. Our truck is successfully crossing the bridge. However, this is probably not a bridge I would want to drive across. As you can see, it kind of sways and moves and bends a little bit as it's driving across. We can slow the truck down if we want to by using this command up here. Whoops, there it goes. So we can see better as to where the stress is being applied the most to our members and our joints and stuff as we go through. So after going through and changing quite a few different things as far as our not our materials, but either hollow or solid, and some of the dimensions of our materials, you can see we're under budget. We came in at $218,000. Another part of what you need to do is you need to figure out what your site cost is and your material cost. Your material cost is listed here, and we're at $98,000 on materials, and then our site cost, which is all the work that went into building the site, is all right here. So to get to that, just right of our information on our total cost of our project, you click this calculator looking symbol and you'll get this window to open up for you, and then you get all your information here, and then record that on the document, and make sure you go through that and do that for all your bridges, and then add it up at the end and see how you come in at the end of the project. Okay, so here we are, successful bridge, under budget, everything looks good, and we're ready to move on. We'll save our project, go to File, and we'll save it as our Bridge 1 design. We'll make sure we save it in our login. In this case, it'd be my login, and make sure you save it as Bridge 1, and then save your project from there. Okay, and congratulations on a successful bridge when you finish yours, and best of luck.